protocol, and we are, okay. The relaxation protocol, I'm gonna give you a little bit of history, not trying to be boring, but just so that you have an idea of why I'm taking so much class time to talk about it, and then we're gonna try it and work on it. The relaxation protocol is one of several methods out there that can be used to teach our dogs calm behavior. And not just calm behavior, but actually inner calm, which is really what we're looking for the most is, oh, I can relax. You can teach a quote unquote place behavior, which is on cue, the dog goes to a certain spot and lays down and stays there until you release them. But teaching that place behavior is it is not a guarantee of the dog actually feeling relaxed while in that position. In fact, a lot of our more anxious dogs don't, which is why, unless somebody asks for it, I don't teach place much anymore, because our urban dogs especially are living under so much stress all the time with all of the things that we expose them to. I can get to in some ways I can get to the same place and have better outcomes for the dog if I'm teaching them that the thing to do when I don't know what to do is to lay down and relax. Okay? So that's how I look at it. I look at it as dog hears or sees FedEx truck, does not exactly know what to do, so goes to default dog behavior, which is I bark and I jump at the window and lose my mind, and then FedEx guy goes away and I get reinforced. Okay? A dog who has been taught the relaxation protocol has something that they can do when they see that new thing in the environment, that guy coming up the water. Oh yeah. And they lay down and they don't worry about it. Karen Park overall is a very well-respected canine behaviorist. She wrote the Bible of all behavioral treatment plans. It's about that thick. And the relaxation protocol was part of that work, and originally was meant to help dogs who were reactive and nervous with changes in the environment to be able to be more relaxed, hence less reactive.
Could you say the last name of the author?
Karen Park overall. And I'm going to send you her most recent version of her article on the relaxation protocol. I just found it last week and it's fabulous. She adds a lot more explanation in there. And we now, you will see that most of the positive reinforcement trainers in this area, whether you're here or at Annabelle's, are going to be talking about the relaxation protocol and or some other type of mat work. And we've been working up to the protocol really the whole time I've had you, because we have been slowly working on reinforcing our dogs when they lay on the mat. Okay? Today, what we're going to do is we are going to start, and we're going to try day one. She has what she calls, they're basically sessions. Session 1 or day 1 of, I think there's 21 days of exercises. I will tell you that it will take you way longer than 21 days to get through it. And frankly, I would do somersaults if you texted me in a month and a half and said, we got through day 6, okay? Because it is something that you want to do every day once you start it. And although it doesn't take much time each day, making that commitment is, it's hard, it's hard. But it is well worth it, especially if you have a dog that gets
Is hyper.
or gets nervous about things. Okay? So with the relaxation protocol, these days or these sessions, what happens is they increase each session, they increase the difficulty of the distractions that the dog has to notice while they're on the mat. So, for instance, if this is my mat, and Winona's water bottle is my dog, the first week, my distractions are going to be I'm trying to do this so she can get this on the tape and you guys can all see it. My distractions are going to be pretty easy, and it's all written out for you. So when I have you guys do this today, we will attempt day 1. So they start out and they're very, very simple. So for instance, day 1 we'll start out with dog on mat, dog waits for 3 seconds, and you feed. Then dog waits for 5 seconds. And you feed. Then you take a step back, you return, and you feed. Then maybe you're taking a step to the left, and you feed. And right, and you feed. By the time you get to day 14, dog is on the mat, and you are walking to your front door, rattling the knob, coming back, and feeding. Okay? The thing with dogs who have a lot of concerns about things in the environment, we do the first 14 sessions with that dog in one spot. And when we finish day 14, we move that mat to another spot. So for instance, a couple years ago, I started out in the basement of a client's house, and we did 14 in the basement. Then we moved up and we did 14 in the kitchen. And then when COVID hit, we were at about day 4 outside in their front yard. Okay? And that was a dog that had quite a bit of reactivity going on, especially around the yard and the doors and things like that. You may not choose to do that many places, but you can. And the benefits that I have seen for dogs are things like, oh, the FedEx guy is out there. I'm gonna bark once and then I'm gonna go lay down because it's not a big deal. Or maybe I'm just gonna go lay down because it's not a big deal. You can take that mat with you, places that you know are gonna be hard for your dog, like for instance, a kid's soccer game, And because that mat has become a symbol of, I can relax, and chicken happens, of course. It can help them get through situations like that. We've had clients take their mat to the vet. I had a service dog I was working with last fall that was having a hard time going in and out of doors at stores that, automatically open. So we took, and she had done the protocol for a couple of years. We took the mat and we did sort of our own made up relaxation protocol right out in front of Food Store Living. And seeing the door do that became no big deal, and now she goes in and out of there with no problem.
She a service dog?
Yes, yep. When you start doing this at home, the mat is something that you keep up until you're ready to practice. And then when it's time to practice, you are going to lay your mat down. I would recommend that you pick some place and stick to it. Stick to that place for the first go round, so that at least that part of it is predictable for the dog, okay? And, as few other distractions as you possibly can. Day 1 through 5 would not be the time for him to come running past you if possible, because we're asking a lot.
Yeah.
And then when we finish day 1, we toss a treat for our water bottle dog. Dog moves away from the mat, and we pick it up.
Sit.
Okay? All right, so we are going to, since everybody's pretty relaxed right now, we are going to attempt day 1. I don't use, other trainers do, or some trainers do, so I'm gonna let you kind of choose your method. I don't use the clicker with the dog once I'm doing the protocol. And the reason I don't is because the clicker creates the anticipation that the treat is coming, and anticipation is sort of another one of those things that is sort of the opposite of relaxation. So I just deliver the treat without the sound of the click, but I know lots of trainers that do use the clicker. So know your dog, and if you have a question about whether to use it or not, you can certainly ask it. It's just my preference once we're into the protocol, because of course I've always had impulsive dogs, and they're like, oh, the click, oh. And it's just a lot easier for me not to use it. Okay.
Do you use like the word good? Like good,
With this I don't, because when I'm marking behavior, we're also giving the dog feedback, and because we want this laying down to be so voluntary, I'm not really sure that I want to give my dog feedback, because I don't want, for instance, I don't want Dolly to be laying on her mat because she's such a good girl, and and I'm gonna do anything for that good and still be vibrating, okay?
Gotcha.
And she's, because she is so young,
You turn 6 months next week.
what in the world? You just texted me.
For the parking lot at 9:30.
Yeah, that just came in now.
Oh my gosh.
Weird.
I'm
That's
going,
weird.
he bumped my arm.
got hung up in cyberspace.
Yes, so. Okay, we are gonna try day one. I usually, do all of the counting for you in my head of the seconds. Anytime you're finding that that an item is too hard, you can always make it easier for your dog. So for instance, if you taking a step away and back is too much stimulation for your dog and they get up, then just do one step in place, okay? All right. Okay?
So the idea is that he's just sitting, but eventually they should lie down.
Yes, the original protocol says sit for 5 seconds. We teach people to have their dog lay down, but if your dog would rather sit and can be calm about it, you can be relaxed and sit. I'm more interested in, can the dog be relaxed enough to stay in place with you waiting and moving around than I am whether or not the dog is sitting or laying down. Okay, all right, and so I'm gonna have you wait for 5 seconds. Now feed your dog. Now you're gonna wait for 10 seconds. And Mike, even if she moves, I don't want you to move,
Gotcha.
okay?
Yep.
Feed your dog. Take one step back and return. And then feed your dog. Take 2 small steps back and return. Don't give her any, just, hi baby, I know I'm ruining this for you. Don't give her any cues, just let her choose it.
Okay, so don't tell her to sit.
Right.
Okay.
Feed your dog. Now wait for 10 seconds. What you may have to do is just start feeding her on the field. As
Goodbye, jumping bean.
feed your dog. Take 1 step to the right. Return and feed your dog. And remember, you're feeding it on the mat. Not to their mouth, but to the mat. Okay, take 1 step to the left. And return. Feed your dog. Wait for 5 seconds. Feed your dog. Take 2 steps back and return. You're going to want to make them small. And feed your dog. 2 small steps to the right. And return. Feed your dog. And wait for 10 seconds. Feed your dog. Wait. Take 2 steps to the left and return. And feed your dog. Clap your hands softly once and feed your dog. Take 3 small steps back and return and feed your dog. Count out loud to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And feed your dog. Clap your hands softly once. Feed your dog. Now, this version of the protocol says to count out loud to 20, but I find that is a big jump for most dogs. So I'm gonna have you count out loud to 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Feed your dog, good. Take 3 steps to the right and return. And feed your dog. Clap your hands softly twice. And feed your dog. Wait for 3 seconds. Feed your dog. Wait for 5 seconds. And feed your dog. Take 1 step back and return. And feed your dog. Wait for 3 seconds. Feed your dog. Wait for 10 seconds. Feed your dog. Wait for 5 seconds. Feed your dog. And wait for 3 seconds. Feed your dog. Okay, you are now going to take a treat, toss it away, let your dog know that they are free, and pick up that mat. Free. Good job, everybody. Okay, a few things, just as you'll find this in the article that I send you, but I'm gonna tell you anyway, a few things to remember. When you're doing this at home, and probably next week when we try it here, go ahead and either leave your dog off the leash or set the leash down, because the leash does sort of imply to the dog that it's not a voluntary behavior, and we do want it to be a voluntary behavior. Here today, I think it was good to have that leash on just to kind of get started so that we didn't have wanderers. But when you're working on at home, I would leave that leash off. If your dog gets up, just wait for them to come back and continue on. If your dog gets up 3 times, then release them, throw that treat, pick it up, and call it a day. Because if the dog has gotten up 3 times, what they're telling you is, I can't do this right now, and that's okay.
So when they get up to leave, you don't call them back or use a hand signal to?
Nope, because this is all, it's all voluntary. And the reason that it's all voluntary is, did someone telling you, you need to relax, ever relax you? No. This is the dog first, and we've done this part, they've made an association with the mat, that the mat is the magical, yes.
Treat center.
Yes, it's the treat center. It's the magical treat center. And now what we're working on is I can just enjoy the Magical Treat Center even if my mom walks away, even if there's rattling at the door, even if the FedEx guy comes to the door. And what you'll see happen pretty quickly is a dog that has previously been sort of like a wanderer or a pacer, and who never lays down, will start offering that more. I'm just like, I don't know what to do with myself, I'm just gonna lay down, okay? That's usually one of the first things I see, okay? And depending on the dog, it may, you know, the mat work itself, oh my goodness, I think mat work killed Cassie.
That was hard.
Yes. If you can get him in your, you know, Caspian's taking, you know, he's taking that relaxation forward, or he was anyway. Okay. Any questions about that?
Do you recommend we start off the leash on the mat at home from the get-go?
I would, yeah.
Okay, alright.
I would, so that the dog doesn't get into the habit of thinking that they've gotta wait for you to.
Do you have a recommended way of redirecting her back to the mat? Like,
Standing there?
just waiting for her to sit on it?
Yes,
kinda?
if you have done enough work with the treat piece of it,
Yeah,
and she will come back to it.
okay,
If she doesn't, then she's telling you either your treat's not good enough or I just can't do this right now.
okay.
And that's okay.
I've had some of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Would the dog feel like it's not their choice if you start like in a hallway and you have the mat in front of you and there's no exit in the back and there's no exit, well, you have to go past you to get to, say, another room? Or would that make the dog think, I don't have a choice, so I don't like this game, or? I'm just thinking like if you have a wanderer and you kind of control the environment of it.
I wouldn't necessarily, and I'll tell you why. There is, you know, I don't want the dog to think they have no choice, but there's also the amount of movement that you do exponentially increases fast. So right now you're doing 1 or 2 steps, in a few more exercises, you're walking 10 steps away and coming back. And if you don't leave yourself enough space, we all laugh. You know, all of our dog trainers, we all laugh about the amount of space that, you know, you can tell that this was developed in a, you know, in a lab situation or at a training center where you can walk, you know, you've got lots of space, because like our little houses, you know, there's not 20 steps in every direction, even if I put my dog's mat in the middle of my living room. So, you know, I have to, you know, I have to think creatively sometimes. So yeah, you want to give yourself movement, you know, room to move.
I guess we're just reactive, like there could be a leaf blowing on the dock or something, and
And-
you gotta be there to see what's out there.
Yes, and that's why we do this. That's why we do this, is so that, yeah, leaf, no big deal. And it does make a difference. I look at, the difference between the 2 dogs that live with me, and Bess did quite a bit of mat work as a puppy, because I had her as a puppy. And just in general, even though she's nervous about a lot of things, she rarely goes and looks out my back door and starts to lose her mind about anything. Where Lucy, while we've done mat work, you know, it's just been in the last 6 months, and probably not enough of it, I'm starting to think. And she is much more barky and crazy about, oh my God, there's a leaf out there, or there's a squirrel, or the neighbor's cat, or whatever. You know, I think this is one of the best prevention tools available to us. It's just a matter of doing it, and even the longest ones only take about 8 minutes. You know, as you move ahead with your dog's training, and if you only have 8 minutes or 10 minutes a day to do training at their age, this is what I would be working on.
So how many times a day would you suggest to start off?
Oh,
Is this
I
one
think
time a day?
once a day is plenty.
Okay,
You know, none of you has a dog that is terribly reactive, you know, except maybe Caspian over there, who's sleeping at this point.
Right, but if you saw somebody out the front window, he'd be all,
Yeah.
I must protect you.
Yes, which is why we don't start this at the front window.
No.
We might work towards that, but we don't start there. But yeah, it's a good investment in having a calmer dog, a more confident dog about weird things in the environment, or, you know, unusual things in the environment. So, you know, even as friendly as she is, it would be, I think, a good time investment, just so that as she gets older, all of that energy and, my people, doesn't turn into, oh God, strangers, you know, so,
Gotcha.
all right, I spent a lot of time on that.